And also, what is on the wish?
Okay, let's take a look at what the man on the street thinks.
Do you think what they're giving away is helpful, is enough for you?
Currently, I think that should be quite fine. I mean, there's some measures that they have taken. Although we hope they have more, but I think this is a good start.
Oh, definitely. I think it's definitely helpful. It's especially in this time of needs. I think what we need is really help from government. In fact, prior to the budget, I was thinking perhaps it would be good for government to dig into our reserve, to help us out during these times.
For me, what I think is still not a good idea, because we also find it so hard to cope with our daily lives also. So money concern, the way they making the GST credit, all these, it's still not going to have enough for our pay, our fees, everything. So our house bills, everything also, how are we going to settle it? So even though they still give this kind of amount, it's still not going to help our economy, you see.
It's definitely not going to help significantly, but the efforts is much appreciated. If the government does want to help on this,
The job credit scheme, like they're giving sort of grants to companies to help retain the workers. Do you think that sort of gives more sort of a job security for you?
No, not necessarily. Because at the end of the day, if the company's bottom line is not sufficient, the kind of help the government is giving, I'm not sure if it's enough to maintain jobs.
Well, that is something innovative, and I suppose it does help with the perception. Both parties actually benefit, employers and employees as well. And I think the objective, would put a lot of people at ease, at least to know for that time being that at least the employers have an option and not having to resort to cutting jobs. Yeah.
I feel that it's more encouraging. Whether the company will retrench is up to them.
After hearing this, do you feel like more secure?
Yes, I feel very safe. Because now recently also my workplace is very shaky. I worry about losing a job because only I'm the sole breadwinner. No, my wife is not working. Hopefully my work is very safe. It's good. It's good to hear that.
I mean, what more do you think the government can do to really help families like you,
I feel that the things and the expenses are very high, you see. So, like bills, maybe they can give us more rebate on. They are focusing on low-income families. They should also do that for owners who are staying in 5-room. Doesn't mean that if the owner is staying in a 5-room or in an executive apartment, they are rich. It's not that. It should be more like a general thing, like everybody should actually benefit.
My concern is on childcare. So currently I'm not working because I quit my job, and so it's like expecting a second one, but I think there's no rebate for non-working mothers. Yeah, so I think that's my concern.
So what will you do to cope with this recession?
Life goes on. Try to keep our jobs, and if we can, maybe pick up new skills and all these things. See how things goes on.
It's making me more cautious about spending. But at the same time, I think we do need to spend, but within reason, within what you can afford.
We have to reconsider our lifestyle. We will have to slow down our budget, our way of spending. So this is subsequently everybody will do that. I think we have to tighten our belts and also to go through this crisis.
I think if let's say in terms of the worst recession, I think it's for all the employees. I think for individual workers and even though we are executive and non-executive, I think this is the best time that you should upgrade yourself to take courses and I think to prepare for the future.
See what happens. But any the rebate, any gift back to the people is always welcome, and I think we are happy. That's all.
Wow. I guess the reactions are quite varied and mixed. Some are actually pessimistic about the job prospects and are not sure that the job credit scheme is really helpful.
Exactly, right? In preventing companies from job cuts, right? So, what do you think? Is it going to be helpful or short of forcing the company not to retrench?
Well, I think it will certainly be helpful. As to what extent it's helpful, is left to be seen. But I think credit also had to be given to the government in the sense that there's this special risk sharing initiative whereby whereby government is going to take a significant share in the risk of the loan being bad. So I think from the company's perspective, from the borrower perspective, I think they also have to help themselves in the sense that they have to prepare a more detailed budget or project plan and give more financial information to banks so that the banks will feel more assured and can extend the credit to them.
Okay. Well, now...
so for the risk-sharing initiative, right? So what do you think? Is it going to be really effective then?
I think the government take a very bold step, But anyway, the bank is the one who make the decision whether they're going to lend the money or not. Of course, the government try to share 80% of the loss, but at the end of the day, the bank is the one who take the decision, right? So I think the government need to monitor this scheme closely. Let's make sure that people who want money get the money, and people who want to lend the money out.
But how can the government monitor that in the sense that, the government has to let market forces take its place on one hand, but the other hand, they also want to intervene a little bit, but that's a delicate balance, isn't it?
I don't think the government wants to intervene. I mean, of course, we want free market here, let the market do their job, but just monitor it closely. If this scheme doesn't work, probably the government may want to try new scheme or something, because I think this is the biggest scheme, actually 5.8 billion for the risk sharing. So if it works, it will help to recover the economy, significantly. But if it doesn't work, of course, we have to try new things, or they can. I think the government should make sure that borrower and lenders take advantage on this scheme. Okay, don't. We want to avoid the delayed delivery, right? And also, what about the interest rate? If they lend the money out, but with very high interest rates, so probably SME they might not want to borrow the money.
And that would defeat the purpose, isn't it, of the loan scheme?
So that's right. That's exactly precisely one of the SME owner was telling me the other day. Is that the risk sharing scheme, right, in fact, require a minimum lending rate of 5%. To a lot of them, this 5% is still significantly higher interest rate to be paid.
So what would be appropriate?
But it's again left to the market forces, because if it's something that is 1-2%, maybe it doesn't incentivize the bank to lend anymore or to take even the 20% risk sharing. So it's something really left to the market forces. And of course, the banks, hopefully the banks will really have this moral obligation again to lend company that is deserving the loans, that needs the loans.
Okay. Well, now that the budget is already released, we can look back and see what are the things on the wish list that was not ticked. Are there any things? Anything?
I think from the individual perspective, I think one of the nice to have will be your mortgage interest from your financing of your homes. They would like to see that this interest can be deducted against your own personal income tax. That will go to a certain extent help to finance your cash flow and help to reduce your taxable income. We have seen that being done in Taiwan and Hong Kong. So this is something maybe the government will consider again later on. I think from a company perspective, right, and if you can remember, in last year's budget, a lot of tax incentive was given to R&D, research and development. And this year, there's some money being parked for innovation purposes. So this is something that the government want to develop or encourage R&D in Singapore. And based on feedback, some of the companies say that on one hand, you are giving a lot of incentive. On the other hand, you are making R&D quite difficult to qualify for R&D, because the definition for R&D can be quite restrictive. So there are people who think that the R&D rules can be further relaxed to achieve the intent purposes. This is from a company's perspective.
How about from your side?
I don't have a wish list, just have to-do list. I think as a lady, you mentioned that we shouldn't take it for granted. Of course, the government try to help us, but we have to help ourselves too. We have job credit scheme, but of course, you have to make sure that don't slack off or something. Try to work hard, try to improve your skill, and then let's weather this recession together. I mean, we have to make sure that we you just try to keep improving your skill, keep learning. You know.
Well said. It's true, because like in a recession, there's really nothing much you can do other than keep improving yourself. Well, okay, all those measures that the government implemented is actually all expansionary measures, right, to push the economy. Could there be another effect like inflation? Is that a worry that we should, think of?
Personally, I think inflation is not a serious issue now because we're facing recession, and from the forecast, I think next year Singapore inflation is about 0 to 1%. So of course we have to take into account this resilience scheme, right? Because it's a lot of money. But if you put a lot of money on the usual time, it might drive up the inflation rate. But with the recession, I think it's not a big concern now.
Yeah, it's not. So really, the main thing we can do is to be optimistic and to work hard, to improve yourself along the way, and wait for things to turn better, I guess.
Maybe this is the year where the things will turn around.
Yes, that's right.
And then we'll have a prosperous year.
Well, it's the year of the ox. It means that we have to work hard.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks, for coming to our show.
Thanks for having our guests.
Yes, thanks for staying with us. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
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 What do I say?
You see you tomorrow.